Hey folks, this is Crazy Sylvie from Germany, and I have a new pattern for socks or cuffs or hats for you. This is called Random Flowers because I have knitted some flowers. You can see the little flowers here, and they are completely randomly in my garment. And this is random because my random effect comes out of my yarn. This is a hand-painted yarn, and you can make your random flowers by just knit them when you want and if you want and put them in randomly, or you take a dice and you play dice, and whatever the dice says, this is the number of stitches where you put your flowers. So you can put them in completely randomly, and if you want to put them in regularly, then of course no problem. In the end of the video I show you a stitch chart where I chart for you how you make these flowers regularly and how you can knit them regularly. So if you want to know how to knit this, then just stay tuned and watch on. To knit my sock pattern, of course, I have prepared something. This is my ribbing, and I did a knit 3 purl 2 ribbing, which makes a nice and neat ribbing on this side and a more structured ribbing on the other side, so I can use my ribbing from both sides if I turn it like this, and so I have a different look. And this is my crazy surprise wool, and of course you can use any wool you like. And these are my flexi flips. It's a flexible 3 needles DPNs. And to knit my pattern I have a hand painted yarn from a German hand painter, and this yarn has very short colored parts, and with these parts we are going to do our little flowers. Of course you can take any other yarn. If you take something hand painted, I suggest that you don't take something with much color in and with longer color parts, because then it wouldn't work. You can use a one colored yarn if you like. This makes the same pattern. So okay, so if we have prepared something, we can start. Okay, if we want to start, we of course need to take our new yarn, and I'm going to take it here now, and to avoid weaving in the ends, I weave it in while knitting, and of course I show you how to do this. So I leave a short tail that I would need for weaving in, and I hold my short tail with my right hand, and I'm knitting the first stitch. So here we go. Then I take my end to the other side. Okay, and I give my first stitch here a little tug that it's tight, and now I put my end next to my stitch and I knit the stitch with the yarn next to it, and I slip the stitch off and the yarn is behind my needles. So then I knit the next stitch just regularly, put the yarn to the front next to the stitch, and then knit it together, then behind, then again next to the stitch, and knit my stitch with the yarn. The next stitch I knit without the yarn, then one stitch with the yarn, one stitch without. And this is what you repeat until your tail is woven in. And as you can see, I hold it with my thumb and my middle finger to give it a nice tension. You have to find the right tension. If your tension is right, then you can see, just give me a second for a few stitches. Okay, then you can see that you have neat knit stitches and you have woven in your end in the back, and you can see it looks nice and neat and very good, and you can see nothing in the front. So go on like this until your tail is completely woven in, and then of course finish this first round with knit stitches and knit a second round with knit stitches. And if we have done this, we meet here together again to make our sock pattern, and I show you how to knit the little flowers. Okay, I finished my 2 rounds and I have prepared some little flowers already for you to show you how they look and to show you how we use it. So we just use the color parts of our yarn to knit these random flowers. If you want to know how you do it with one colored yarn, then I show it to you in the end. Then you need a repeat of minimum 6 stitches, 6 or 8 or 10 or more, but this is what I show you after I've shown you our random flowers. So okay, this is, I use the color of my yarn, so I knit just until I see a color part of my yarn. There it comes, here. Okay, here we are. So now the color part of my yarn comes. So this is the stitch I just knitted. So I now go with my right needle under the stitch I've just knitted and pull out a loop like this. Then I go under the next stitch and pull out another loop and take the next stitch and pull out another loop. So I have 3 loops now on my needle, and this is the middle stitch of all 3. So I put them back to my left needle and knit all my 3 loops with the middle stitch together through the back loop. So I go from right to left into that stitch, and be careful not to take the next stitch, not to decrease, and I knit them together through the back loop, and this creates this little nice flower. And now I'm going to knit all stitches again, just like knit stitches, and I'm waiting for my next color part. So this is how the yarn creates our random flowers. Okay, here we come. And this is right. Yeah, this is right here. Okay, we can do another stitch. So we go under the stitch we just created, pull out a loop, go under the next stitch, pull out the next loop, and go under the next stitch and pull out the third loop. And then I have my 3 loops on my needle, and this is the stitch in the middle. So I put them back to my left needle, and then I knit them through the back loop. So I can leave my needle in and grab the middle stitch, and be careful not to take the last stitch, and then knit them together through the back loop, and I have my next flower. And this is how I go on with all my stitches and work until I meet my next color part. And if a next color part would come directly over a flower, you can't create, of course, a new flower. Then you just knit right away and ignore the color part and just wait for the next one to come. And here we go with the next one. Here we go. And where we can create one flower here. So we go like this, pull out the first, pull out the second, pull out the third, put it back to our left needle, grab the stitch in the middle and knit them all together through the back loop. And then knit together, knit right away for the next color. So here we have a few random flowers. So this is how it works. And of course you can knit with a single colored yarn also random flowers as much as you like. And when you like, you can do it like this, or you make not random flowers, you make plant flowers. And of course I want to show you how to make the plant flowers, and I need some paper for this, and I just grab my paper now and then I show you how to make the plant flowers. So here is my paper and I want to show you how to plan it. I told you you need a minimum repeat of 6 stitches. So we draw 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I told you you need at least 1 knit row. And in the second row there's the first row where you can create your flower. So you knit the first stitch and then you grab a loop under the first stitch, grab a loop under the second stitch and grab a loop under the third stitch and knit them all together through the back loop with the middle stitch. And then you knit the rest of the stitches. Then you need minimum a row between, minimum 1 row. You can knit more if you like. And in the next row you can do the next flowers. Then you knit the first 3, knit the 4th here. This is the knit one. And then you grab the first loop under the 4th, under the one you've just created. Then under the 5th and under the 6th. And then you knit them together through the back loop with the 5th stitch. And so you see that your little flowers, you know, they differ. They are once here and once here, and they are quite close. So you can knit more rounds in between than just one. You can also make them wider like this. Then we need, for instance, 8 stitches. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. And then we go like this. First round is minimum a knit round, and then second round is we knit the first stitch and then we grab the loop under the first stitch, grab the loop under the second and grab the loop under the 6th and knit them together through the back loop as I've shown you. Then minimum round 3 or 4 or 5 is a knit round, and then the earliest round you can make your pattern again is the 4th. So you go, you knit the first 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, you knit the 5th, and then you grab the loop under the 5th stitch, then grab the loop under the 6th stitch and grab the loop under the 7th stitch and knit them together with the 6th one. So you can see that the room between is wider. So you have, when we have, this is our flower, this is our flower. So you see, we have between the flowers, we have just always 1 stitch. Here, they're just right next to each other. So this is the way you can work it when you use it with one colored yarn, so like this, or you can do it, of course, every time randomly. And this is how it looks, and you saw how it looks at the beginning of the video for the full sock. So if you like my video, I would be happy if you give me a thumbs up and recommend me to a friend. And I hope my English was not too bad. If yes, then please correct me. And I'm happy to see you again. And if you don't want to miss a video, then leave a subscription. And we see each other again soon.